Hi, good evening. Welcome to the 2025 SEC Baseball Tournament Game 3 post-game press conference. We're joined by South Carolina Gamecocks, represented by head coach Paul Maneri, along with center fielder Nathan Hall. In a moment, Coach will give an opening statement, and then we'll take questions directed to Nathan only, please. Then we'll let Nathan go, and Coach will take questions. Easton and Kinsley are on each side passing microphones, so please raise your hand and wait to be called upon. Coach, if you can give us an opening statement.
I thought we have a tough game today. Obviously, Florida's got outstanding players, and got off to a start there, bases loaded, nobody out in the first inning, and they only could get one run out of it. And they turned around and hit the 3-run home run, and after that, a couple more home runs. And we had opportunities, just couldn't capitalize on them. So in the end, it was kind of the story of our season, really. The other team hit home runs. We didn't hit any or haven't hit many. And, we left a lot of runners on base. Ultimately, the better team won.
All right, if we can get questions to Nathan, please raise your hand. In the center of the room, second row.
Nathan, after the season has ended now, what has this year meant to you, being a Gamecock here for 1 year?
It wasn't what we wanted as a team, but I couldn't be more thankful for Coach Maneri and Monty Lee and Coach Rooney for giving me an opportunity to play here. It's easy for a staff like this to see what I've done in the past and not believe in me and not give me a shot. And to be able to play every day in the best conference in college baseball at an amazing program, it's been a true blessing. It's been amazing.
On the fourth row on the right side.
And along those lines, how do you feel like your season went for you personally? Did you feel like you were able to live up to your expectations?
I feel like regardless of how I do, I never really live up to my expectations. I am a little bit disappointed that I could have done a better job for the team in the back half of the season, but it is what it is, and it's just you got to take each game one day at a time, and I feel like I did a good job with that.
More questions on the left side.
Nathan, if you can hear me well, Matthew Towery from World Baseball Network. You're one of 4 players that had an average over 300. How do you feel like your mechanics can transition over if you want to play at the next level soon?
Yeah, I feel like I'm in a good spot. The main thing is just staying, being confident, knowing that I'm good enough. There's going to be failure. There's going to be, stuff that happens. So, yeah.
More questions for Nathan? If not, Nathan, thanks for your time.
Thank you. Yep.
All right, if there are questions for Coach Maneri, please raise your hand. Start on the right side.
Paul, you talked last summer about part of the attraction of the job being the program wasn't in the doldrums and you felt like you were close. Now that the program kind of is in the doldrums after this year, does it still feel the same kind of energy for you going into next year and beyond?
Yeah, it was a tough year. I'm not used to these kind of seasons, quite frankly. And, it got off to a rough start when we lost what we thought was going to be our Friday night starter before the season began in Eli Jersenbeck when he got hurt in preseason, and then shortly after that, Nolan Naraki, who we thought would be our second baseman and hit a bunch of home runs, was really never himself, and now he's had knee surgery. And then you look at Talmadge LaCroix, who broke his thumb the second inning of the first game of the year, never really swung the bat the way that he could, and then when he hurt his hip, he was out for the year, and then, of course, the last month, without Petrie. So I'm not making excuses. It's just reality. We didn't have the depth to overcome some of those things. I'm an optimist by nature, and I thought, that we would have the, what it took to compete in this league. Obviously, we didn't, the way the season went. But it hasn't, I'm disappointed but not discouraged. We're working really hard in recruiting. We've already lined up some really, really good players for next year through the junior college ranks. We have a few guys in the freshman class the previous staff had recruited that we're real excited about. And then we're anxious for the transfer portal to open on June 2nd. And we're obviously going to need a lot of players there. We've we've recruited already a really outstanding high school class of 2026. So I think the future is bright for our program. And, you know, like I said, I'm disappointed about this year, but I'm not discouraged about the future. We're just going to keep rolling up our sleeves and working hard at it, and hopefully we're going to be a lot better next year.
On the right side, fourth row.
The pitching staff had the worst ERA in program history this year. Do you still believe in Terry Rooney as a pitching coach, or do you consider restructuring your coaching staff in any way?
No, Terry Rooney is here to stay. He's an outstanding coach, great recruiter, great pitching coach. You know, there were, you know, you do the best you can, and you know, we'll get better. We need to. You know, we had some young kids, I think, that showed flashes of being pretty good for us, and we're going to get some kids in recruiting, and we've got a couple freshmen coming in that I think are going to help us. And Terry Rooney is here to stay. He's not going anywhere. He's an outstanding coach, and he'll prove that as we go forward. And there won't be any other changes with our staff.
On the left side, second row.
Coach, like, how do you just feel that, you know, with Florida's pitching, like Bartow, Roland, Rodriguez, I mean, flat out dominated today. What do you see in what you guys can accomplish this fall? You talked about the recruiting class a few minutes ago. How do you just feel about guys that you can have deep innings, whether it's the back end of the pen or maybe certain stars that could eat up going into the fall season?
Matt, I'm not sure what the question was. What was the question?
How did you feel about, you know, what Florida matched up today with Bartow, Roland, and Rodriguez pitching, and what you guys want to accomplish with the recruiting class for this upcoming fall with certain guys?
As far as our pitching goes, you know, like I said, we're going to go out and recruit the best kids that we can and get some quality arms, and you know, build upon the guys that we have in our program that we think have a good future, and I think we'll be a lot better next year.
In the middle of the room, third row.
Paul, after the season you guys have had here, do you feel you have the full support of the administration to be able to turn this thing around the way you see that is possible?
Yes. Very simply, yes.
More questions for Coach? If not, Coach, we appreciate your time.
Todd, good to see you.